This is the large cluster in the trees, or just hovering above the trees in one spot, and it's been there for at least 2 months now. And those smaller clusters that you see to the right of the screen, to the right of the cluster as you're looking at the screen, they're the kind of clusters that this larger cluster is creating day and night, and it's been doing so for the last 2 months. And these smaller clusters have gone off all over the city of Toronto and become even larger clusters, and I have filmed some of them next to buildings and over buildings and up in the sky, and there's quite a few of them around now, and it's this large cluster that has produced them all. So now it is daytime. It is 6:05, the 20th of April 2011, and I'm just going to back off to show you where exactly it is. This is a golf course, and it's right next to where I live. I'll show you the apartment type that I live in. I live in one of apartment buildings such as the ones you see. There are 4 apartment buildings here, and I live in one of them. And this is just over a kilometer from me, and it's a golf course, and this is right on top of a cluster of trees that's situated on the golf course itself. So being that it's been so cold and foggy and raining and even snow, the weather hasn't been very nice, so no one is playing golf at the moment, and I don't think anyone realizes that this thing is here. So I am going to just position the camera so I can close in on it. So this cluster has been making these smaller clusters, and there are, I don't know how many of cluster-sized balls, there are orbs in the trees. As you can see, if I back off, the trees are loaded with them in this entire area, and I think in this entire city. They're just all over the place. So those white tops of the trees like that, that's not natural or normal. That's all these entities on the trees, and there's just tons of them. And once they get charged up enough, they're ready to make more of those orbs and clusters themselves. So this large cluster, its job has been to just produce more of itself, or lookalikes of itself, and send them on their way all over the city of Toronto, and perhaps even farther out. I don't know. These things can go anywhere. They can fly. So they can go as far as they like. And just look at the trees. How many of those entities are actually in the trees? All that white milky stuff is them. And this is no longer in another dimension, and these are not nice little orbs. These are alien entities, and they're posing a serious threat to all of us, and that's what I believe. I don't think they're here to be nice to us at all. Just look at all the trees, how many there are. The entire area, and every other tree I film is the same way, and I can't see anyone thinking that this is a positive thing. I actually had one person write a comment that this is divine love. I just can't see it that way, and I can't see all those things coming over here to show me or anyone else divine love uh, in this way, and not even announce themselves. Just look at how many of them there are in those trees. Look at how many there are. There's white clusters too. Right there. You can see the white clusters. Pretty soon they'll all start glowing when they get the right velocity, when the orbs that counterclockwise revolve around their nucleus and pick up the speed. That's when these white clusters there start to glow too. So these are all large clusters, as you can see, and the trees are just full of these things. And all that milky stuff there is small orbs in the zillions. And those trees are not really trees anymore. They ate those trees and just turned themselves to look like trees. Those trees are not there because at dusk, when it starts to get dark, all of them go up to the sky. And half of those trees just vanished, and you can't even see the trees anymore because they're gone. Look at the size of that cluster, how many entities that is. There's just more and more of these things. Whoever says anything nice about them is dead wrong, because these things are here. And they're not a good sign for us at all. Just look at how many there are there. And look at this one, just making more. I'm going to back off so you can take a good look at what it's doing. I'm just gonna post this video the way it is. I'm not gonna do anything to it because I think it's important to just look at this whole thing and realize that this is something really wrong going on all around us. Toronto is not the only place. This is happening all over this planet, and we need to get on the ball and do something about this before it's too late. Whoever wrote that comment that this is divine love, you must be out of your mind. Been reading too many books. I'm just going to point to some other clusters in the trees. Look at the size of that one. I just have to adjust the camera so that I can move it. Look at the size of that one. Now that's a kilometer at least away, maybe two. And if I can see it with this little camera from here, I don't even need a camera. I can see it from here without the camera. So this is a pretty good sized cluster. You can see by the size of those trees. Those trees are about 50 feet high. I'll just back off to show. So that's about the size of a light post, the height of that cluster. And you can judge accordingly to how big it is. There's the large cluster that's making clusters on the left there, and look at the size of that one that's in the trees. That's not even lit up. Look at the size of it. That's about 10 times larger than the one that I filmed that's glowing. Just look at the size of this thing. That's not a little thing. That's about, I'd say, 20 feet across, maybe more, or in diameter. That's how large that thing is, and that's just one cluster. There's many in those trees, and there's many in all the trees around that area. Just want to see over here those other white clusters. Look at the size of them. I'll have to adjust the camera to show them. Okay. Just look at how big these are. And look how many orbs there are that are supposed to be our trees. There's no trees there. It's an illusion. The whole thing is an illusion. Those trees are gone. They've been consumed, and these things have eaten all the trees. And look at the size of them. Just look at the size. Those are all large clusters. They're 10 feet and more. They start at 10 feet. Okay, right. Okay, what I'm filming today are clusters in and on trees, and today's April the 20th. It's 6:15 p.m. and I am filming to show that this cluster that's glowing, I'm going to zoom in on it, is making other clusters that are glowing, which in turn go on and make more clusters and orbs all over the city of Toronto. And as you can see, those are not natural or man-made lights. There is nothing natural or even man-made about them. Those are alien entities. They're alive. They're intelligent. They're not from our dimension, and they haven't been on this planet until now. And they've come in great numbers to Earth. And every day there are more of them. Every day. So what this cluster has been doing is making those bright glowing orbs there that are shining yellow, and it's been making them day and night for the last 2 months in that exact location. And what those orbs do after that, they go up into the sky and relocate themselves and start making other clusters just like themselves all over the city of Toronto. And I have filmed many clusters all over the city so far, and this is the cluster that has made all of the other ones. So I'm going to show you now the clusters that it has made that are not glowing at the moment, but they are large clusters anyway. Those white clusters there in the trees, those were all made by this cluster. And you can see the size of them. You can see that they are very large. I'll just back off to show how large. Those are really huge trees there. And this whole thing is situated on a golf course. And being that the weather has not been very nice, no one's playing golf. So there is no one there to notice anything that these things are doing. So look at the size of those clusters. And all around them are all these orbs, just zillions of them. It's too many to even count. And they're in the air, they're on the ground, they're all over. Those trees, half the trees are not even trees anymore. They're made up out of these entities because they have eaten the trees and just taken their place. I know it sounds unbelievable, but this is exactly what has happened around here. They have consumed the trees and turned themselves to look like trees. But all that white milky stuff on top of the trees, look, it's all them. There's not a branch or a leaf or even a bud now that it's spring. There is nothing but them. The whole thing is them. These are not trees anymore. And I'll just show the white clusters at this location here. And you can see that there's just tons of them in every single tree or what's left of the trees in that area. And all around in the air, even where I'm standing, the air is just full of these things. This is not any longer in another dimension. This is right here on Earth in the third dimension. And how it started around here is that cluster 2 months ago started producing all of those entities, and now there are so many you can't even count them. Now that's a large cluster, and it's a hexahedron cluster. You can tell the hexahedron shape it has, and it has beams of energy which are pointing to four sides. And on the bottom to the right of the screen are the clusters that it's making. If you look at the clusters that it's making, they're at high frequency and high energy. They're in a plasma state, as is the large cluster that's a hexahedron. Everything is in a plasma state.